Two young boys were exploring the hills around their home. As boys do, they wandered into the mountains miles from their farm. They noticed a depression in the ground. It was more than just a hole in the ground. It was a hidden cave. Running back home, they gathered as many flashlights as they could find and headed back to their newfound hideout. The cave was located in a remote valley at the base of a mountain. Ill-advised, the boys decided to make a foolish choice and go into the cave. They took their flashlights and headed inside. They began to descend rapidly, and before they knew it, they were at the bottom of the cave. Unknown to them, they had descended over 600 feet. As they explored the wonders around them, they lost track of time, and more importantly, lost track of the way out. The boys weren't even thinking about direction or time. They were explorers, and they were finding some amazing sights. Giant stalactites and stalagmites lined the cave. The boys had no idea what they were called and named them ice cream cones, because their shape resembled an ice cream cone. They made their way into a giant room, nearly as long as a football field. Astounded, they couldn't believe their eyes. Robbie, the oldest of the two boys, noticed that his brother Nick's flashlight was fading. He reached into his bag and handed Nick another flashlight. But as soon as he turned it on, the batteries were dead. Robbie had the only working flashlight, and they were more than a mile into the cave. The boys thought they needed to find their way out before the other light went dark. They started to backtrack to find the caverns that led them into the cave. Minutes turned into an hour, and then 2 hours. Slowly, Robbie's flashlight began to die and eventually went dark. Now in complete darkness, the boys stood motionless in the cave. Without any idea what direction would lead them out of the cave, they began to stumble their way through the miles of pathways. Hopelessness set in. They began to realize that the darkness they were in was all around them and made it impossible to find their way out. "If only we had a light," exclaimed Nick. Robbie thought about that statement and said to Nick, "All we have to do is keep moving and look for some light in the distance. If we see a light, that will lead us out." Continuing to walk, they searched and searched for a light source. Suddenly, Robbie saw the smallest glimmer of light in the distance. Nick saw it too, and the boys began to make their way toward the light. As they moved slowly through the cave, the light grew brighter and brighter. Soon, they saw that the light was actually coming from the very spot they entered the cave. After several hours, they appeared from the cave and into the light of day. Never again did they venture into the cave. If you have ever gone through a very difficult time in your life, you can relate to this story. When we are in the darkest times of our life, it feels hopeless, and there appears no relief, no solution, and no way out. Unfortunately, many people believe there is no way out of darkness. Out of the darkness shines the brightest light. Out of the most dark times of your life can shine your greatest triumphs. These moments can change the course of your life forever. The key is to find the light. Even if it is the smallest light detectable, follow that small glimmer of hope and believe it will lead you out of the darkness. It may take some time, and like the boys, you may not be able to move forward as quickly as you like. The light may seem far away and impossible to reach. One step at a time, just keep your focus set on that light and move confidently toward it. There is a way out of darkness, and that way is to find the light and follow it to safety.